I don't see how that's going to create a team that you're going to be able to work with. You know? Like, it makes it faster. I get that. I get that there's a speed issue. But then who are you hiring? You know, why do we even get an intro made?
Where QR codes kill kittens and customer service is an oxymoron.
Pay money for this.
UnPodcast has set out to make things right. This is the UnPodcast.
This has all been a terrible mistake.
The show should be called Unprofessional. That really is the name.
Yeah, well, we can always change it. I mean, why not, right?
Unprofessional. That's it. Well, thanks for coming. Next week. This week.
Find out more about sponsoring the UnPodcast.
Oh, my goodness. So here's the time where we say, you know, in the fourth week of coming back.
Yeah.
Right. That we say to people, thank you so much for all your reactions so far, except the problem is we've recorded the first 4 episodes in the same day. This is how we record episodes. So we actually don't know.
It is?
We don't know how well the first 3 episodes were received. So we should probably be like, we should film 2 reactions, like 2 segments here, right? Like one is like, so we've gotten all your feedback from the episodes and we're just so happy you loved it. And then we'll do an alternate. We got your feedback, so we're making some changes.
Yeah, I think Scott should do like an apology video for everyone, like, just in case.
All right, so we'll do it
so
now.
like
Ready?
we can run through all the apologies.
Okay, great. So we'll do cut. We'll do apology video cut.
Yeah.
1 right.
And just put it in here. To all the CEOs.
So one is where we majorly screwed up.
Yeah, you owe apologies.
Okay, here we go. Right.
Okay, go.
Hey everybody. It's Scott here, and on behalf of Alice and myself, we need to apologize.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know the feedback for all the 306 episodes. I'm not sure.
Our mistake was we implied that leaders who didn't listen to their people and forced everybody to return to office were morons, and we apologize for implying that. That was our mistake.
Well, Scott apologizes.
The issue is we didn't mean to imply it. We meant to say it, like, straight direct. Like, that's what we actually wanted. We should have said it out there, so we're apologizing.
Great apology.
No.
Great apology, babes. Good
job. So the actual breaking news, what we actually really want to address, and actually one of the main things that also got us excited to do the show again.
I think this is why we started the podcast.
This literally, I think, was one of the things that really sparked the show coming back again.
Yeah.
We went into Toronto. So our children are adults at this point. They're at universities in various places and things. And we went to visit them in Toronto. We stayed at the W.
We did?
Hotel because we had Marriott points. We fancy.
We don't live far away. We just decided we'd stay for a few nights.
Let's use 186 million points for one night at the W in Toronto.
We live 20 minutes away. We'll get a house sitter, a pet sitter.
So we had to hire a pet sitter for 2 days. Young and Bloor Hotel to go visit our kids. And we walked into the room, and Allison's first words out of her mouth was, do you know why the bathroom was in the middle of the room? So today, this is the reason we want to address the epidemic.
Yeah, this appears to be a trend as well.
Of design trends, of hotels, designing hotels with open concept bathrooms.
And so, like, what I do, like, as a rule, like, if I'm thinking, maybe it's just me, you know, it could,
it's possible.
It could just be me.
Yeah.
And so usually what I would do is go to Reddit, because I enjoy Reddit, and, you know, put something in, like, no door bathrooms, right? And it turns out that we are not alone, because there was an entire thread. I think there was actually 3 separate, do they call them threads on Reddit? About people sharing pictures of hotel rooms which had removed doors to the bathroom.
So the one we have up on the screen for our listeners right now, but again, you can find 100 of these online. This
it's an epidemic.
There's a photo of an open concept shower in a hotel room where, and there's like we had at our hotel, there's an island on the other side of the bathroom. And the quote from the post, which makes it the best, by the way. So remember, glass shower open to the room, right? Hotel I'm staying at with my mum has the shower open to the entire room. It's just the mum. It's the M-U-M version of mum too. Like, listen, for the love of all that's holy, I'm with my mum, okay?
And like...
Open shower in the room. Now, where we stay at the W, it wasn't an open shower. It was first of all, it was the sink.
Like it was
So the bathroom
shared...
sink was, you walked into the bathroom sink into the room.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the bathroom was like a stall at an airport.
With
so
like a
a
sliding
gap at the
door.
bottom and a gap at the top.
Yeah.
So I assume it's for airflow or whatever it is. And so no matter what disgusting noise you're making, whether you're brushing your teeth and spitting, gargling, pooping, whatever you're doing, it was always open concept. We made sure no noise went unencumbered in this room.
And we're married.
Yeah, and we're married.
And
look,
even it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. I don't know if people are renting them to film
But here's
content.
the thing. So I
at some
understand
point.
these were all designed by a single male.
100%. No woman
These were
ever
all
said...
designed by a single
Yeah.
male who travels exclusively alone for business.
Who apparently doesn't eat in there. That was the other thing. Like I like a snack in a hotel room, and I feel extremely uncomfortable snacking. And yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
because
especially when I'm making eye
see-
contact from the bathroom.
I could see.
Especially when I'm making eye contact from.
So all I'm
usually
asking,
a display of dominance in the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
But when somebody locks eyes with you in the bathroom and you're eating.
So if everyone in the hospitality industry, is that my camera? If everyone in the hospitality industry could look deep into my eyes and please hear me.
Oh my goodness! And by the way, multiple threads on this. By
It's
the way,
just
and
a door.
we've stayed in multiple hotels with this issue. The West Wing in MGM, we were like, oh, it's a funky new
The
design.
Standard in New York City,
The
shower
Standard in New York
right in the
City,
middle.
where
Although
you're-
that one, it was pretty cool.
Right.
If you can shower and look
By the
at New
way,
York City.
3 weeks ago, if you were on a cruise ship on the Hudson River, I apologize. I was taking a shower and
internet
the
famous.
curtains were open. But to be fair, when I was originally looking out the window, there was no cruise ship out there. Okay, when I turn back around, suddenly the Symphony of Seas is there today. So
Yeah, if we could just put the door back in, that'd be sweet.
you're welcome for the show.
All right.
What you got for us? Next?
Oh, you want me to go? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is really interesting. I love stories like this. So, for many years, Scott was known for a video
I don't know whether
about
this is going.
millennials,
Okay.
about millennials, and I mean, when you watch it, I mean, it's very tongue in cheek. Like the idea is Scott would talk about millennials and problems with millennials, but the truth was the problem wasn't with millennials. The problem were these gaps in generations where people weren't taking any time to understand each other, and that generally people of an older generation would just sort of dismiss those from a younger generation. So at the time, really around the time that we did this last podcast, the last time, it was the millennials, right? Millennials were killing every day. It was millennials are killing this industry, millennials. So anyway, so this article, which is from Fortune, it's very interesting because the headline is "Welcome to Career Catfishing." Gen Z, I guess, for our American friends. Gen Z's new defiance against endless rounds of interviews and hiring managers who ghost. So they blame Gen Z very prominently, but then on the second page, they get into how employers are ghosting too, which I really enjoyed. So our Gen Z friends know that we're going to get to the employers too. Mm-hmm. So it says ghosting strikes the hiring process as Gen Z applicants react to unresponsive hiring managers by no longer replying to messages and sometimes not even turning up for their first day of work. Entering an increasingly competitive job market, some Gen Zers are responding to unusual situations in atypical ways. Dealing with endless rounds of interviews, slow to respond employers, and an overall frustrating hiring process, a fraction of these cohorts have taken to ghosting their employees back. Back being the most important word, because even though they're saying it's atypical, what it really is a response to being ghosted by those doing the interviews.
Yep.
And so they kind of go on with saying that Gen Z just isn't putting up with it, basically. That they're doing the same thing. They're automating their replies. They're not showing up. They might, apply to a whole bunch of jobs, and then some of them they get offers for, and they just never accept. They don't turn it down because they have accepted another job.
Right.
And they're saying that. Then it says overall, however, Gen Z shouldn't get all the blame. Quite far down on the article. Mm-hmm. Ghosting at the office has become more commonplace of late. It says 3 out of 4 employees in the UK say they abruptly cut off communication with prospective employer in 2023, according to a survey. And it says still, going no contact with workplace isn't widespread at this point. So they just want you to know it's not a huge problem. This is just really the young people and the employers, apparently. It says
This is my favorite stat coming up.
Yeah, so it says almost 80% of hiring managers admitted they've stopped responding to candidates during the application process. It says Gen Z said that ghosting is a reaction to the company's behavior.
Yeah.
More than a third of applicants who have purposely dropped the ball say it was because a recruiter was rude to them or misled them about a position according to Monster. Applicants without degrees said they turn to ghosting most when a hiring manager takes too long to respond.
Okay, so
like, is this a problem? And then, wait 1 second. It says, in part, it's likely that AI is fueling this, it says. AI has become more integrated into the hiring process because a screener that rejects resumes without ever reaching a human's eyes.
Oh, we have a story follow-up for that one in a second. I need to go off on a second about
Okay,
it.
I'm excited about it. I'm going to sit back and you do your thing.
So again, I come from HR. I went to school for HR. I fell in love with HR.
I was born in HR.
I was born.
I was raised.
Raised by HR. You simply have dabbled in HR. I was creating comp plans, but I was still having a soother. Listen, right now is bananas when it comes to the workforce. I have never seen it take so long for people to get professional jobs, work office jobs.
Yeah.
That to the point that there's way too many things going on and there's way too many things up to make it normal. There's multiple reasons why this is happening and the ghosting. The problem is so many companies, both I know at least, again, only that I know of, I don't know the whole world, but I know Canada and the US. One of them is to qualify for certain policies. You have to prove to show you've done interviews across the board and you can't find anybody. So now you're allowed to hire somebody at a discounted rate from somewhere else. That's one of the big programs.
Interesting. And that's on the employee side.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that's happening. Another one of the things that's happening is also, I just read a Reddit post yesterday of somebody who's a programmer.
Yeah.
And they're just done. They've been looking for 9 months for a job. And they said, I'm done. I just talked to the recruiter, from the company, and they actually came out and they admitted they actually aren't going to hire for the position right now. They already filled it, but they wanted to interview him. So in the future, if they needed another person in the position, they'd already done an interview. You are playing with people's lives.
And their time, like there's also just
and
like
emotions,
yeah.
and there's this BS that happens now. You need to be the interviewer you want to have, which means being a hypocritical company in hiring is it's almost par for the course at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, and I used to talk about it way back in the day, and the example I would give was companies create a policy and says you have to have 3 working references to work here. I have to give you 3 people's names that can vouch that I'm not a serial killer, or at least currently not one. Right? So that's what I have to do.
Not yet.
But the company then also says, but by the way, if you leave here, we don't give references. Listen to me. If that's your company right now, you are a hypocrite. You can change it. I don't mean you as a person or individually. I don't know you. But if your company's doing it, it's hypocritical. And we can change that type of thing. And listen, if you're listening right now and you've been looking for a job for any length of time, I just want to give you a hug.
I mean, I'm pretty happy with what I have, but I don't know. Today is a rough day. I don't know if it's working.
But it's so hard. People are suffering so much now, looking for stuff in a state of flux and governmental changes, which changes a whole bunch of stuff as well, and everything goes around. And I'm telling you, almost every day on LinkedIn, I'm reading a long post of somebody at the end of their rope.
Yeah.
Of a year, 18 months, 2 years. And before this, and people are like, well, this happens all the time. No, I don't. It happened before, but not like this.
Yeah.
It's so crazy because what do you have? You have AI, which is like, we're actually not going to hire for this entire department until we figure out what AI can replace.
It's also like a trick. Like it causes you to force those keywords and to give a less authentic
And we didn't have to deal with that
answer.
before. So when I was in hiring, when I worked at HR at Goodwill Toronto, and that was 98 to 2000,
Yeah.
when I was there. It was the 2 years I could last, which is longer than I thought I would be in there. The whole thing was you either faxed your resume, you mailed it, you could email it, but it was earlier on, so it wasn't the same thing. But every level was an individual.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I went through that stack. And there was phases. So my first time going through a run of resumes, my job was getting rid of some. Any reason I can get rid of a resume, it's out. You know, the experience out. Like I need to get that 300 down to 50 to start, and then we start going from there. Bad staple out, right? Whatever reason you put clouds on the paper. What are you talking out? Yeah. Right? All these things go out there. So you pick different things, and then every single time though, it was a human.
Yeah.
And we did this as a company. And then what came out was scalability in hiring. And scalability in hiring is software. It's programs that read resumes. You have to have the keywords, and all you do is take the frickin' job ad. By the way, you use an old SEO black hat tactic.
Yeah,
you take the resume, copy all the words at the bottom, turn all the text white on a white background, and I promise you'll hit every machine you want to.
Yeah.
And then we have a story like this from yourtango.com.
I want to say too that I think that then you see it in the job, right?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like what we were talking about when we talk about AI, is like, what's so important? Like, is the person you're hiring important?
Right. And so this article, it's manager proves HR system is auto-rejecting candidates using his own resume. The
CEO can't get the job.
The ATS, or applicant tracking system, has become the bane of every job seeker's existence. So there's also something that happened on Reddit, actually. He says, the manager posted their story in a comment on a separate Reddit post in which a job seeker from another company lamented a world record rejection after applying for a job. Both emails, one containing the confirmation of receipt of the application and the other rejecting the job, both were at 10:56 a.m. So they applied. Thank you for applying. You're rejected. Right? So we said, we wanted a follow-up, but not that quick. So they put in there, naturally they became suspicious, and they created myself a new email and sent them a modified version of my CV with a fake name to see what was going on in the process. And guess what? I got auto-rejected. HR didn't even see the CV. Most of the HR team was fired because of a typo in the ATS, caused every application to get rejected as well.
I don't see how that's going to create a team that you're going to be able to work with. You know? Like, it makes it faster. I get that. I get that there's a speed issue. But then who are you hiring?
Yeah. And the problem is not only do you have to deal with all these,
right?
And I mean these people, I've been watching, and people track their applications. Hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of job applications, tracking it all the way down. And then you get to the point, especially in creative jobs, they ask you to do something.
Oh, that's right. Remember, like, you have to then
an assignment or project,
which can get really sketchy with creativity too, because
they take it.
Yeah, you get to that point where you have to start protecting your work.
And even the fact that they even get you to do stuff like that, they're like, well, we need to see it. Yeah, that's what a probation period's for. Yeah. That's how life works. And the problem, what we forget is, because we're in a state of desperation if we're out of work.
Yeah.
And the problem is, but then we flip it. Because then I've heard the same chatter from leaders are like, well, let's look for somebody to fill a position, but make sure they're still working somewhere else. Because we have this 1976 mindset, which is if you're unemployed, you're not good at working. Yeah. If you're employed, you're good at working.
So we want people with 3 jobs.
Yeah, those two things have no indication of how good you work.
No.
You not working currently is no indication of your quality of work. End of paragraph.
Yeah.
But the problem is, we look at it and say, well, obviously you're more valuable because no. Layoffs nowadays, people are like, well, you shouldn't change jobs too quickly. Shut your mouth.
Most people don't have control over that
Shut
anyway.
your mouth.
Yeah.
If anybody here is thinking right now, oh, they've job hopped, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Just stop talking. Have you been here the past 10 years?
Yeah, and also changes with hybrid and remote work too. I've changed that too. Like
everything. People get laid off on you remember, applying for a mortgage, you and I are entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
It's like you have to go to Larry on the corner.
Yeah.
He's going to loan you some ZD. He's going to give you some money. You're going to pay it back. We're going to keep it, and then the bank will talk to you later. What's the VIG? We'll figure this out, right, as entrepreneurs. But if you have a job, you're secure. Yeah. You're not now.
Yeah. It really has changed.
What's secure now? In a drop of a hat. And they're like, you should give 2 weeks notice. They ain't going to give it to you.
Yeah.
We're here for ourselves, and we can be here for each other. But on a company level, it's not like that anymore. If you're looking at a resume right now and you're trying to fill a position, do not allow that thought to come into your head, because you're going to lose out on somebody who's potentially great. And the problem is, on the business side, on the capitalism side of it, you want to hire somebody who's not working because they're more desperate and they'll take a lower salary. That's what's said. That's what's said at conferences too, though.
I just really want to see, like, if the job is so important, like if you need to hire that person's job, then why can't you invest? Like 80% is a crazy statistic. That is really high. That's not an anomaly. Like that's why I think it's funny that they headline it about what Gen Z is doing. But Gen Z is barely doing it. The truth is that 80% of managers are ghosting people that's the headline.
That's
right?
what you said. They buried the lead.
That's the headline. And then, people have to realize that why don't we get the right people? Our team doesn't want to work. Our team doesn't want to come in. Our team keeps quitting. People keep quitting. Well, you didn't really spend the effort hiring them.
Nobody wants to work anymore. No, they just don't want to work for you. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you next week. We'll talk about other stuff.
Bye, guys. This was fun.
See ya.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and visit theunpodcast.com. And remember, friends don't let friends use QR codes.